Talking Nerdy Vlogcast with your host, Pablo Gunner, and I am here to talk nerdy to you. This week, I'm going to be talking nerdy graphic novels, specifically Preacher Book 1. Without further ado, I will go ahead and talk about Preacher Book 1. The infamous writer, Garth Ennis, and artist, Steve Dillon, created Preacher together. Matt Hollingsworth performs the duties as the colorist. I've heard so many remarkable things about Preacher, yet I've only recently read it. Part of the reason is that AMC has made it into a show. I feel like this is one of those books that's a perfect description of a story in which the writer had something in mind, but it ended up becoming something else, something better. The characters in Preacher all look so unique, different, deep, dark, and realistic. Body types vary as well as hairstyles, and that includes facial hair. Each character visually has their own concrete voice. It's like someone put a comic book film / layer on real life. It's a superbly and supremely top-notch realistic touch and tone of the art that makes you buy into the sometimes ludicrous story. The story starts off pretty far out there. There's angels and something called Genesis that has escaped heaven, which is actually, Genesis is a combination of a demon and an angel. The angels try to capture Genesis before it attaches itself to a human. Then all of a sudden this preacher, Jesse Custer, is fused with Genesis. His ex-girlfriend shows up, Tulip, with an Irish guy, Cassidy, that ends up being a creature of the blood-sucking variety. Somehow it continues to get weirder. There's a serial killer, macho cop that likes getting railed, psychotic, evangelical inbred family, and God gone rogue. Jesse is also imbued with this godlike entity that gives him the ability to command people by spoken word and access to heavenly knowledge, such as the fact that God has been missing from heaven. This sets him on a path to find and confront God. For some reason, he goes to New York City, back to his home state of Texas to do so. The first half of the first volume was a bunch of crazy nonsense, but it does serve as a way to get to know the characters and the world they live in. It wasn't until I got to Jesse Custer's insane and extremely religious family that it got good. It's the hearty meat and potatoes part of the story and book. Jesse's ex-girlfriend's past catches up with her too. She couldn't follow through with the hit job that she took up. I feel like the story could have just as easily started at this point. I wasn't really invested in the characters until they were put in these dire straits anyway. Jesse's past with his mother, father, psychotic grandmother, and her deranged goons are revealed, as well as why he's a preacher. You see Jesse get beaten, tortured, and brought to the brink of losing his mind. It feels so real. You could genuinely imagine something like this happening. They destroyed Jesse's only shred of hope, but God intervenes. Once Jesse's hope is returned to him, it is such a gripping and glorious moment when he smites his mortal enemies. It's extremely difficult to judge this book. A good portion of this book seems almost pointless, other than to establish the world and characters, much of which they don't use for the rest of the story. Even the world changes to a much more realistic one. Unless it serves a larger purpose down the road in other books, it seems like it's a waste. The rest of the book is so maddeningly brilliant and supremely phenomenal. One thing that I can't complain about or give enough praise is the art. Steve Dillon was in top form from beginning to end. His visuals are so raw and realistic that even the ridiculous and mundane were equally believable and enticing. I can't give it the best grade, but it is easily, definitely, without a doubt, worth a buy and deserves to be Trade of the Month. Please tell me what you thought about the comics, if you read the comics, graphic novels, whatever, or the show. You know, whether you've seen the first episode or the second episode, both, whatever. Please tell me what you think, and I appreciate it. Make sure that you are a subscriber, you like, and comment, and I will hook you up with a free digital comic. This week, I got Invincible Iron Man, number 10, All New Wolverine, number 9. Spider-Man 2099, number 11. Spider-Women, Omega, number 1. All New All Different Avengers, number 10. And Civil War 2, issue 1. Like I said, just like, comment, and subscribe, and you can get one of those pretty things. Now, thank you again, and please talk nerdy to me.